Text coming in thick and fast, and you kind of get the feeling that the balloon may have been pricked a little bit with Razor Ray. You can break dance as much as you like. You can be, super cool dude, surfer, all of that. But the only currency that the All Blacks operate in is called wins. It doesn't matter who you are, what your personality's like. If that team is winning, then you're a great coach. If it's not, questions are going to be asked. Martin, it's a backline of outside backs. A good thing 10, 12, 13 unimportant positions. When you look at that team, you're exactly right. It is. It's a backline of outside backs. And is Beauden Barrett a fullback or is he a first five? Is Will Jordan a winger or is he a fullback? Is Rieko Ioane a centre or is he a winger? Is Damien McKenzie a test first five or is he a fullback or is he a utility? Is Geordie a fullback or is he a second five? Martin, is it part of player contracts that they must play? Why else is Razor picking the same mediocre players whose performances over the last 3 years are not bloody great? Might as well have Foster picking the side. So it wasn't Fozzie's fault after all, eh? And how long have I been saying this? Our playing stocks are as weak as I've ever seen, and I've been watching the All Blacks from 1975. There is no magic wand. There is no fairy dust. All the selectors can do is choose the players that are playing Super Rugby. And I was talking about this with Lachlan earlier today. Rest and rotation throughout Super Rugby. Our top players, when you actually itemise all of the fixtures they play, how many hard-out, hard-ass Super Rugby games do our top players play to prepare them to play for the All Blacks? The quarterfinal is normally, even though it's a knockout game against one of the Aussie sides that you'd expect to beat, right? Or the Fijian and Drua, and you'd expect to beat them at home. So it's only really the New Zealand derbies. And how many players get rested and rotated and don't play those derbies? So you take out the derbies and maybe the semi and the final. At best, our best players are probably playing about 6 to 8 hard-out games to prepare them for the All Blacks. That is the truth of it. All right, let's go to the press conference. Razor Ray. In no particular order. The thinking behind Rieko getting his spot back, Scott, please.
He's had a great few weeks. It's his opportunity. Look, he's had some great performances beside Geordie Barrett there, and there's an opportunity to have another crack.
Okay, I don't want to start by this, but that's just rubbish. I mean, that really is. Well, he's had a great few weeks and some great performances. Name one. Anyone, name one. The reason he got dropped for that first test against Argentina is quite clearly against England. He was okay, but is okay good enough for an All Black centre? What has he done? Well, we haven't seen him in training, okay? But what are we going to get? Are we going to get a Rieko that is different this week, that can actually set his outsides up, that is going to play like a centre should? One change to the forwards, injury forced. Why is that, considering that Argentina, I'm not going to say dominated us, but, we certainly didn't dominate them in those encounters in that first test.
I think every All Black forward pack after a result like that gets a chance for a bit of redemption and another opportunity, and they've owned it. We all have, and it's great to move forward now. We looked at it and then thought, here we go, Eden Park. Let's get into it.
Redemption and opportunity. Okay, that's what you should have said around Rieko. I'm okay with this as far as Scott Robertson is concerned, because this is how the All Blacks operate. We've always operated like this. We lose one test against an opponent, then those same guys get the chance to go again the next game. If we lose again against Argentina, good God forbid, at Eden Park, there goes the 30-year unbeaten record at Fortress Eden Park, then the selectors have seriously got to consider massive changes before we play the Springboks. If these guys can't dominate Argentina as a forward pack, if ours can't, then what hope in hell have we got of going over to Africa and doing it against them over there? Will Jordan, next. Justin Marshall on the program a couple of weeks ago.
He played all of his rugby under Scott Robertson at fullback, unless he had to shift because of catastrophic injury problems, which was very, very rare. He selected him there. The only person that selected Will Jordan on the wing is Ian Foster, and obviously that was his preference because Ian Foster couldn't live with not having Beauden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga on the field at the same time.
So what has Scott Robertson done? He's done an Ian Foster here. So what's the thinking behind Will Jordan on the wing, given the fact that you have stated that your preference is for him to play fullback?
Oh, look, we believe his skill set's perfect for this combination. Obviously, Bones playing really good footy. They've worked together closely, and good voice. They execute really well together. So just the experience we felt was best for this weekend.
I am not questioning the wisdom of the All Black coach here, but I am worried that we might be getting into what I call a New South Wales Blues origin approach, where you've got all of these good players and you want to fit them all into the side, so you start playing them out of position. He's a fullback, Will Jordan. Changes to the wings. Caleb Clark in at 11. Talia goes to the bench. Sevi dropped altogether. The reasons behind those?
My job's to build cohesion, also what's right for this team. Like, he's a power wing. Caleb can't carry the ball and dent a line, and he's good in the air. So we just think those two will complement each other this weekend.
Were you tempted to make a change at halfback, not start TJ, start Cortez?
Yeah. No, good question. Look, TJ can play. There's opportunity to go again this weekend and lead the team in the 9 jersey. We've got a good combination with Cortez going, so they'll work well together again this weekend.
Look, I can understand if you're going to stay with Mackenzie. I know that him and Ratima play together for the Chiefs, but this is a test match, and Damien McKenzie is still very much finding his feet at test level. He's done some brilliant things, which is what we expect of him, which is why he's an All Black. But also the helter-skelter, the skittery-jittery, and the Super Rugby approach to playing a test match has got to be gone from his game. TJ, I thought, was ponderous against Argentina. Unless he's done 5 or 6 days hard out on that left foot clearance, the RGs are going to be using exactly the same tactic against him this week. I would have started Cortez Ratima myself. Was there a balancing? Well, what difference does it make what I think? But I actually would have. I would have started him and Bowden as opposed to. But you are the All Black coach and you're going to live and die by this. Was there a balancing act between dropping players and giving others a chance at redemption?
It's a balance of the both. Gone for a few combinations, kept them together, and also a little bit of experience in there, and what we think's good for this weekend, what we needed for this weekend, especially with a bit of wet weather coming.
Finally, and I love this question, this is a great question, is there a fear that you guys might be overcoaching the players?
Oh, I think, I said question yourself all day. The ability to coach simply is probably the first thing in our minds. Look, we learned a lot last weekend, we all did, and just got to learn quick and then go and put it into action. So that's been our focus.
Razor Ray, Scott Robertson from the presser about 45 minutes ago.
The 2-minute drill.
Which is in fact 6 minutes. It's all down to accuracy, isn't it? The All Blacks always talk about accuracy. Okay, it's 6 minutes, not 2 minutes. But we have a game to play, Lachlan, called...
We need to talk.
Should or could?
We need to talk.
It's a brand new game.
Next!
Should TJ start this second test?
I know you want a clear, definitive answer. Yes and no. I'd say no, because I personally would love to see Ratima start. I personally would love the idea of the All Black coach offering consequence to his players when they don't perform well enough. And you can make an argument for a number of players who did perform well individually, but at the end of the day, the team didn't win. At
the same time, though, I do agree with the idea. If the guy didn't play well, give him one more chance. He's, that's the All Black ethos, mate.
Yeah. I agree with that as well. And also, look, I don't think TJ was terrible.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I think he was as good as most of the team. So I do agree with that. I like the idea of guys earning their shot back.
Should Rico be back at centre? What has he done to?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so when Scott Robertson says, he's had a great few weeks and he's had some fantastic matches alongside Geordie. Again, I'm not trying to be a smarty pants here. I haven't seen that. I mean, what are you looking at that I'm not looking at?
Oh, is he talking about performances and trainings?
Who knows? Because on the field, we are, look, what we're seeing with Rico is we're seeing a guy that is Plunket, a guy that has played over 30 test matches at centre, a guy who we want to be a hell of a lot better in that position, and he's just not delivering it. And look, this combination, when you look at the two players, their strength, their size, their experience and everything else, should be, if not the best in the world, the second or third best centre combination in the world. And they're just not delivering that.
Next.
Should Sam Cane start in place of Dalton at 7?
I think so. I think both of us have been saying this all week. I don't think Dalton is better than Sam Cane.
Well, what does he do better?
No, nothing. Well, what does a 7 do?
Well, I want the 7 to be first at the breakdown.
Yeah.
I want him to be wrestling the ball back. I want him to be creating turnovers. I want him to be putting immense pressure on their 9 and 10.
Yeah. First, making contact defensively.
Bang.
That's what you want from your 7.
Bang.
It's not a flashy position, and you don't always often see them, but then if you're concentrating, you see them first at everything. And Sam Cane is very similar to Richie McCaw in that sense, that he does all of that.
Well,
and we saw it at the World Cup.
Totally agree. And look, and he of course, has always suffered through his career as an All Black because he's following on from one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, McCaw. But he was a pretty damn good number 2, number 7 to McCaw, I thought. And at the World Cup last year, he was an absolute beast. No, I mean, look, if you're fit enough to be on the bench, you're fit enough to start.
Next.
Oh, this has got to be Dalton's last hurrah. Should Tupu Vai have kept his place at lock?
A bit like the TJ question, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we don't have a lot of depth at lock. He's clearly one of the 2 or 3 future locks for the All Blacks, and they want to develop him. The coaches want to develop him. So I understand why he's being picked consistently. At the same time, he debuted for the All Blacks in 2020. He's been in this setup for a long time.
Yeah. And again, he's just one of those players who, at international level, look, he got a great turnover against England in that second test.
It's a dodgy turnover, but yes.
Okay, got a great. But yeah, I mean, he's to me, he's a bit like Dalton Papali'i. He was like Samipeni. I just don't see enough of what he's doing.
He goes missing.
Yeah.
He goes missing.
Yeah. Final one.
Next.
Should Will Jordan be starting at 15
Absolutely.
at fullback?
Absolutely.
Well, why isn't he?
This is strange. The one thing I would have thought that Scott Robertson would have brought to the role, and one thing that I personally was a little bit critical of Ian Foster, was he was far too committed to some players and giving them starts and playing them in positions that it didn't really make sense. One of them for me was Will Jordan.
It was almost pig-headed in the selection, wasn't it? It was almost like, this guy is going to be there because I want him there, because he is going to be there because it has to happen, and there you go.
So when Razor came in, I thought there will be, particularly because he played Will Jordan at fullback coaching the Crusaders, that there'll be a definitive idea around where some guys would play, more so than there was, Will Jordan being the main one.
Justin said in that quote, he said, look, Foster was just was committed to having both Bowden and Richie Mo'unga on the field at the same time. And I'm thinking, what, is this the same street that Scott Robertson is driving down, that he has to have 2 guys on there who can interchange between first 5 and point? He wants McKenzie on there, and
this is back-to-back tests now where he's named a team where Will Jordan is healthy enough to be on the bench and therefore you'd think healthy enough to start, but Razor has chosen to go with Damien McKenzie at first 5, Bowden Barrett at fullback, and Jordan either coming off the bench or on the wing. It doesn't really make sense. Well, I don't think it makes sense.
Devlin.
You gotta love sport.
The platform.